Ever since I was little, I was always drawn to martial arts. Whether it was from kung fu action stars like Donnie Yen, Sammo Hwang, and even Jackie Chan, I was always drawn to martial arts. Whether it was the dedication, the strength, or even just the cool factor, I wanted to be a martial artist. So, I ended up going on a journey learning about martial arts. And despite abandoning it over 10 years ago, I haven't forgotten the lessons. Because if there's one thing I've learned over all these years, is that a warrior's path is not defined by the battles he faces in the ring. Instead, it is the battles that he must face internally that make the difference. It's kind of funny looking back at my history when it came to martial arts because my parents just threw me into it when I was 6 because they couldn't afford a nanny to watch us. And it was just me and my 2 older siblings. And it was fun for a little bit. We got to go to certain events. Heck, I even got to take part in a contest for sparring. And it was a pretty hard experience. The kids I was fighting were like the same size as me, but hit way harder. But I ended up persevering and took second place. Probably one of the most memorable and most legitimate accomplishments I've ever had in my childhood. After my time at Sheridan's, I ended up switching schools. The one I went to was known as Premier Woods Martial Arts. At Sheridan, it felt like everybody was trying to help you improve, even the other students. But when I went to Woods, it felt like I had to focus on myself more so than others. And it was that mentality that really started to affect me in high school. When high school rolled around, a lot of things had changed for me. Both in my lifestyle, my surroundings, and my responsibilities. At one point, I ended up being part of a basketball team. But that was short-lived. And that wasn't the only sport that was short-lived for me. This right here, this was my rowing team when I was at Sheridan University. Me and each of my teammates all had to work together in order to succeed. And we did take part in a few events. We came last in our first ever race, although I think that was just because we were new and we didn't really have a good teamwork. But this picture was taken during our third tournament, and we ended up coming first in a few events. Sadly though, this would be the last time we'd ever participate together, because I just so happened to be graduating this same year. To try to keep myself occupied, I took up guitar lessons. Ironically, at the same place where my martial arts were being done. And while I had fun with it, I eventually quit that too. I just didn't bother practicing. I was on my own. And it was rough. The stress, the doubt, the multiple responsibilities. felt suffocated, and I crumbled. But it was there, at my lowest point, I was reminded of the most important lesson that any martial artist will learn throughout their years.
There isn't any shame in being weak, girl. The shame is in staying weak.
And they were right. Being weak is not just a physical affliction, it's also a mental one. Sure, my body couldn't do what it was capable of before, but I only stayed that way because I mentally shut down. I gave up, and that's not what I was taught to do. I was taught to be better than this, to be more. Even now, sitting around where I am, I'm still choosing to be the same weak-willed individual, but not anymore. I may not be able to reach the same heights I did back in my prime, but I can still do more. And that's the most important lesson of all. To improve, no matter what, even if it's little, even if it may seem insignificant to others. Every success means the world to you. And there's no reason anyone can take that away from you. The path of life is never easy. But you only lose when you choose to give up. And I was close to giving up on trying to be anything more than what I am now. But I'll keep striving. I'll keep failing. And I'll succeed along the way too. But I know that no matter what, no one can say that I didn't try, especially myself. There are no do-overs with any part of your life. You accept what you've gone through, and you try to grow past it. And that's because the path of a warrior is a path of struggle, failure, success, and more importantly, it's about heart.